Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Assistive Technology Mythbuster webinar series number 4. We're getting close to the end. We've got a bunch behind us and we've got one more in front of us. Today, we're talking about requirements under Part C of IDEA. It's good to be with you. Hello, Mia.
Hello, Mike.
That's as professional and serious as it's going to get. It's only going to go downhill from there. If you would like the slides, there's the link to the slides and there's a QR code. You can scan them. The slides do have some info embedded in there. So there's a couple pictures on the slides that have info embedded that'll take you out to the resources. So it's not a bad idea to get those links and to keep those slides handy so you have them. This is obviously our 4th one in this series that we are hosting. I say we, the royal we, it's just me tonight. Naomi is not with us. I'm from the Richard West Assistive Tech Advocacy Center. There we are, New Jersey's AT Act project. We're excited to be here doing this series. There's all our socials. Find us, connect with us, reach out to us. Don't worry, you're probably saying to yourself, oh, I wish I knew more about your center. Hold on, I'll give it to you in 1 second. But welcome.
That's me. I actually get a slide
You
this
got a slide.
time.
It took us 4 webinars to get you a slide. Here you go.
You. Yeah, so I'm so excited to be here from the Center on Inclusive Technology and Education Systems, or as we like to say, sites. And I am so excited to talk about some AT myths and facts, which we also host on our website. Because you know what? Talking about AT myths and facts, Mike, it's not cheesy. You like that? It's not
Everyone, I'm going to just
cheesy.
start. I'm going to stop the recording right now. Everyone, go
Like,
ahead.
look at this. It's a big, I mean, how can you not like a big block of squeezy cheese with your AT?
Right
Like,
on.
okay. Okay.
Makes
Do you have
sense.
any sound effects? At any rate, this is our website. Thank you for putting that in there, Mike. We have a great website also, in addition to the website you all have, and all of the resources are free. How much is it? Free. Yeah, $0 free. So please come and visit us at sites.castcast.org. And we have our Miss and Facts game, which Mike, you actually played with one of your professional learning offerings, right?
I did. I've actually used it a couple times. I think it's really a good way to get these out into people's hands and have them talk about it. And so we did the traditional kind of matching game of it. I spread them out at different tables around the room. One person had the myth, one person had the fact. They had to find each other and talk about it,
That
see if they had examples that they could pull from their own experiences. And then we talked about them in a large group. It was great.
And I've also seen people, so if you guys are out there doing this and using these, the Myths and Facts game or the Myths and Facts graphics that you're going to see in Mike's slides too, please just send us an email because Mike, someone out there, it was in Broward in Florida. They did it where like they had the science boards, the trifold boards.
Yeah.
They set up myths and then people had to go match the fact to the trifold boards too. So they had teams that were doing it, which I thought that was kind of fun also.
I think that's really cool. I love the idea of a trifold board because you could have the myth on one side, the fact on the other, and
Okay.
maybe people could post examples in the center on like post-it notes or something.
Oh,
I love a good post-it note. Like write down how you had used that or how you've had experience with that in your classroom and post them up there so that people can see those, but then see some real world examples as well.
I love, and that's why you get paid the big bucks, Mike,
That's why I get
for
paid the
ideas like this.
medium-sized bucks. That's why that's what it is. So there you go, everyone. You can have that idea for free. Enjoy. Take it. It's yours.
All the rest tonight will be paid for.
All the West, you
Um,
got to pay for at the end. I'll give you a link. But right now, that one I'm giving to you for nothing. Um,
It's great.
like anything else, I think in all seriousness, sometimes people see the myth and the fact and like, well, sure, okay, that makes sense. I mean, how many of those do we do when we go through the Mia? And we're like, well, yeah, obviously that's a myth because why would that be true? But to have like real examples of that, that someone can say, oh, that I get it. That's very tangible for people sometimes.
It's so important. And actually, that's why we kind of did a branch off with this. And we created cards for humanity inspired by Chris Bouguet's cards against inclusivity, right?
Right.
I mean, there are people out there like me that enjoy a good Cards for Humanity game. And so we did it for Human AT, right? Or include, yeah. So putting out those actual examples of like, here's an example. Now, which card goes best with it, right? And
Right.
having to, yeah. So that's been a lot of fun. But the flip side of that is great too.
Yeah, I love all those ways to make these kind of things kind of stick for people, right? I think me and I were at a conference last week together, and someone had said it. Um, Everything we're doing, we're trying to make things sticky, right? You want it to. I
Yes.
don't even remember who said that, Mia, but we were there,
That
and we
was
were.
actually Cat Brown. I think Cat
Thank you,
Brown was
thank you.
talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Make
give
it
Kat some
sticky.
credit.
Yeah.
And it was like, yes, we want to be sticky, and that's the way to make these things sticky. Um, awesome. Quick announcements, because why wouldn't I force you to sit and listen to this? The beauty of it
There
is
you
it's a
go.
recording right now. You could just zip along and get away from when I'm talking about this. But in addition to this series, I just want to point out to everybody that we do a lot of webinars at our center. We host a lot of webinars. We're finishing up this Mythbuster series in February, on February 4th. The last one of this series will be there. We do AT education series. We just started one yesterday, and we have a handful coming up through the spring of 2025, kind of one a month, talking about different topics related to AT and education. We do tech spotlights where vendors and manufacturers come and share details about their products and services. And then finally, we host a monthly makers roundtable where people come and talk about ideas of how to build one-off assistive technology tools for people that might need that.
Wow.
Get it? Awesome. It's all about 3D printing and coming up with ideas. It's fun.
You guys do a lot, Mike.
Yeah, throw them out there. Why not? I mean, it's what it's all about, right? Getting this information out to people and finding ways,
Definitely.
give people paths to learn more about this. Speaking
100%.
speaking of learning more, all of these videos, including the one you're watching right now, live on our YouTube channel. Go there. It's probably where you went to get this one. Dig around a little. I was doing some research on our YouTube channel for like a year-end report, and I realized we have 587 videos on our YouTube channel.
187?
I don't even know where that came from, but there they are. So there's a ton of information there about assistive
Wow.
technology. So definitely check it out. As you can see from the image on the screen, everything we do, we record. So you see the maker roundtables are there, the tech spotlights, our webinars that we host, anything that we put out there for the public, we record and drop up on our YouTube channel. So
In
definitely
perpetuity.
in perpetuity. Let's see what you did there. Very good.
588. Would we be
588.
588 video?
That's right. This will be 588. The other thing, this is a New Jersey only thing. So if you are not a New Jersey person, boo on you. But if you are, our state, through our AT project, we have purchased a statewide subscription for the ATIA Learning Center. So if you haven't heard about the Learning Center, you can go there. They have many more than 587 videos there. They have tons of videos. The difference in theirs is that you pay for those. It's kind of an a la carte service. You pay for the ones you want. Um, if you're in New Jersey and you sign up through our form, we'll give you a New Jersey specific coupon code that you can pop into the checkout, and then the webinars become free. So,
Can you just
information.
be anyone in New Jersey? Could you be a
Anyone in
parent
New
in New
Jersey
Jersey?
does not matter. You
Anyone?
just need to live or work in New Jersey.
Wow. That's
Again, that's
amazing.
all
What? That is like value added. Wow.
value
That is
added.
just amazing.
We're
People just
good
don't
people over here,
realize.
me. I don't know why you're confused by this. We're good people.
No, I mean that is huge value added. You also may see someone that you recognize, aka Mike Murata, on some of those ATAIA
You
videos.
just might. If
You
you
just
hang around
might.
long enough, I might do it on our website webinars for free. So you might get it anyway. But
Mm.
the interesting thing why we tried to do this, why we decided to do this is that, like we were just talking about, we do a bunch of webinars.
Right.
we pick the topics, the things we think people want.
Right.
I don't know, maybe you want it, maybe you don't. We take a shot. Something like the Learning Center, you can go find whatever's of interest to you
And
and
I've
pull that
used the
down.
Learning Center before, Mike, and I
Great.
would just say that it is a great resource. Like for New Jersey to offer this for free, I really hope people take advantage of it because
Yeah.
it's like having your own assistive technology YouTube,
Right.
but you didn't have to pay for anything. Like it's like, like when YouTube asks you if you want to subscribe and you're like, no, I don't want to
Right.
pay that money. That's like this absolute AT free YouTube because you guys paid for it for them. It's great. Take
Right.
advantage
It's
of it.
awesome. So there you go. So hopefully people will take advantage of that. So again, tonight you're watching it as a recording, so there's not as much conversation tonight. Luckily, Mia's here with us. I will tell you why. And I emailed Mia. I'm like, can we do this together? Because the other night when we ran it live, I forgot to push the button to record it. So that conversation is kind of gone now. And well, it's not kind of gone, it's just flat out gone. So that's unfortunate. So we got Mia with us tonight, today, and we will go through it again and talk about this and have some conversation. Mia's got a block of cheese. We'll figure it out as we go. I'm
You
sure
know,
I can
it
pull a
that
prop off.
reminds me that her situation was kind of like that situation in France. Did you hear about the situation in France with the
No,
cheese factory?
no.
It exploded and there was lots of debris. Like, like that, the webinar that you had, just lots of debris everywhere.
You've compared my unrecorded webinar to a cheese explosion. Great, everybody. Let's keep going. So if
You
you've
know,
been with us throughout these webinars, and like I said, we're on the fourth one now, we're using the document that was created from the U.S. Department of Ed that they put out January of 2024. Um, this large document, fantastic document about the myths and facts surrounding AT devices and services.
it's
And
amazing.
as they put that out, this document was great. They broke it up into five pieces, five chunks. And I think there's 28
28
myths.
is the exact number.
Is that, I was like,
Absolutely.
is
There
it
are 20.
27,
I'm
28?
actually impressed with that. No, it
Yeah.
is 28 myths and facts. Yep.
So 28 spread across these five areas. We've done the top three already. So if you're
Hmm.
interested in those, you can go visit our YouTube channel to find those. Tonight, we'll talk about AT requirements under Part C of IDEA. And then, of course, we have the one more that happens in a couple of weeks live on February 4th. So if you're watching this before February 4th, join us in person to come do that.
Oh, yeah.
uh, Giving you some links. I think it's important to have some resources here. So
Yes.
this link will take you out to IDEA and Part C of IDEA, so you can dig
Mm.
through it a little bit, the regulations, the statute, all of that great stuff. So if you want to dig more into that, the IDEA website is actually really good. The way it's broken these things down into pages, all the regulations. So definitely go check those out. We'll highlight a couple of them as we go forward through the.
Yeah, and you may not have known this, Mike, but I spent some time in teaching pre-K and have a certification in what we call it in Florida. It's like ESE pre-K certification. So yeah, so this is even though we're talking about birth to three right now, 3 to 5, right, is toddlers, and
Yeah.
so like yeah, this is my jam. I really enjoy this.
I love it. That's great. I did not know that. That's wonderful. So that,
Yeah,
like anything else, and I said to Mia before we started, this is an interesting one in the myths and facts document because it's the shortest section. There's only four myths
yeah.
and facts here to talk about. So we'll give you some resources and have some conversation about it. The first one, this goes back to my thought I said before, is some of these are like, well, no, obviously that's not true. This first myth is children birth to three don't benefit from AT. Well, no, anyone can benefit from AT. There's all kinds of supports that are out there for individuals, for children in this range. Here's some pictures of some of it, but it's the same types of technology we talk about in any other area of need. It just might look slightly different. It might act a little different. Um, Mia, what do you think? There's a whole
You know,
array of
I,
stuff.
I think it's important. I love that you put the slide in there because I I think that people misunderstand the word technology,
Yeah,
right? And we have this conversation at sites a lot is that, let's start with what the definition is. And if you're watching this, I'm sure you're like, well, I know what assistive technology is. I know the definition. Well, I thought I knew the definition too. Like you may know the definition, but then when people say technology or AT, you might think just it's all high tech, right? And people forget that AT is no to low, medium, and high tech. And so when you think no to low, medium, and high tech, and then it's something that is needed to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of a student, right? Or a child, then it could be as simple as a book with, Velcro, like Velcro down so that the toddler can't throw it off, but we're working on different motions or,
Mhm.
or reaching towards it, like that kid in the at the bottom there. They're in the bottom of the slide. There's a small child reaching towards an iPad that's propped up. Even what's used to prop it up could be considered AT, right? So I love that you have this here because I think we really should be having this conversation and this curiosity and talking about, well, what does AT look like for birth to 3?
Right. And again, we're working towards putting supports in that child's environment and having them continue to grow with that support and build those skills. So as they get going forward, they have that knowledge of how to interact with things in their environment that enable them to complete tasks.
100%. My great nephew, right, needed some extra supports when he was learning how to crawl and he was a little behind. And this is a great time also to just encourage people to talk more to the parents and families about 0 to 3, because I think, when you're a new parent and your kids have delays, and my great nephew had two parents that are doctors and they're pediatricians, and they still were feeling overwhelmed by like, what do I, like, what do we do? Who do we, so definitely have these conversations with people. Is great. Or take this video and show it to parents, right?
Yes,
Like
for
this is a
sure.
great, like, take this video off the YouTube and give it to all your parents and families out there, so that they can learn about these myths and facts.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Oh, sorry, I clicked a button on my screen and now I got us all messed up. Hold on my
Oh no,
screen. I
we're okay over here.
can't.
We're on the next myth
Yeah, I know we're on
about
the next
like.
slide, but I like did something to my computer over here. All right, sorry, my computer went all
Oh,
out of
okay,
whack
you're
here.
a mess. That's
All
what
right,
I'm
I'm a
hearing. You're
mess on my side. I don't know what happened here. I should have just left. Maybe it's the universe telling me you had one shot at this. You're trying again. I don't know. But here we go. All right. But yes, I agree with you on all that stuff, Mia. Sorry, I got click happy on my screen because it was doing something weird. Um, that idea of providing that level of support um, to new parents as they're entering this system, and just like we're trying to provide supports for a child as they're starting to explore how they move forward and learn and be successful, we're setting up the families at the same time to have some support, understand resources that are out there as they grow forward. They know what it is they should be looking for. So
Yeah.
the second myth that they talk about here is that Part C in IDA doesn't require AT, which is also false, because the fact is there is language in IDEA that talks about AT devices and services as an early intervention service. In fact, there it is. Um, so
It's all
this
right there.
it's all right there. That idea of understanding, and this language, this verbiage is the same
Yep.
that we see in part B, the other parts where it talks about consideration and devices and services and what that looks like. So these pieces are there. Um, Now the trick always is finding ways to make sure that our teams understand that. And we as AT people, I'll speak for myself, and me, you certainly can speak for yourself.
Thank
A
you.
lot of You're welcome. A lot of times I'm spending time working with teams that are in the K to 12 setting, talking about consideration and these and making sure we're talking about technology in the right way. This is about those early intervention teams, which don't always
Um,
get the same kinds of training, the
oh,
same
it's so,
kinds of
yes.
opportunity, right?
Yeah, I listen, don't get me started on this. So, when people are getting support from when people are getting support and going to like a child find. Do you guys have child find in, right? Is it called
Yeah.
child find where they
I'm not
take,
sure if it's called
it's a
child,
different
but
name.
yeah.
Right, where they're supporting that transition from, birth to three to five
Mhm.
to get students and children those services that they need, maybe like uh uh maybe extra therapies, etc. And then we have an infant and family support plan, which is like the IEP, right?
Right,
Like it's kind of like the
right.
IEP, but it's written for the families to support talking about AT, it rare I it it's rare that it happens, Mike. That's why it's so concerning. I think that's why, oh, whoa,
Sorry, I did that
it
because
went away.
my screen was all messed up and I couldn't see you now. And I was like, well, now I can't even see Mia. And she's talking. Sorry. Wow, this recording is something else, everybody. Enjoy. Sorry, Mia.
There's a big Mike. It's Big
Yeah, I
Mike.
couldn't see you. And I was like, well, you're talking and I can't see what you're saying. I wanted to see you. All right, go ahead.
You know what? I just think that this is so important because this is the least talked about, in my opinion, is
I
getting the
agree.
supports at this early intervention age, right? Because like you said, you work with K through 12 mostly.
Right.
And I've been down at the pre-K
Mhm.
level and with our infant, toddler, and development specialists, right? And yes, AT is being used, but is the language being used so
Yeah,
that
I think
parents
that's right.
understand when they go into the transition that they need to be asking for the consideration of AT. And I think, we don't want to overwhelm parents. And I listen, from a family person perspective, I understand that, right? It makes sense to me that we don't want to overwhelm parents, but we also want to give them the language
Right.
so that they get the services that they need
Correct.
for their child,
And it's an
right?
opportunity, yes, to build that knowledge base for them so they know how to move through the system as they go forward.
Yes.
Because then
Yes.
all of a sudden they transition into that next phase, K to 12. And if they haven't had any experiences with kind of the language and
Yes.
processes and things like that, suddenly it's like, well, wait. What are we talking about right now? They have a hard time figuring that out as they go forward. And so this, gives them that opportunity. And, you know, there are times where early intervention teams that I've worked with are doing pieces of an AT process,
Yes.
but not realizing that's what they're doing because no one
Right.
has ever really had those conversations like, oh, what you're doing is a service right here. This is the
Right.
process you're doing, and understanding how to move forward with that and make sure they are being thoughtful as they go forward and not just like, well, we have a bunch of stuff in our center. Try this.
Right.
And, that you
Right.
don't want them to, in their quest to get a child on a path for success, we don't want to just throw things at, not throw things, but, place things gently in a child's vicinity so they can explore. We want to have a thoughtful process about the service and how we do that.
100%. And I would say that like something as simple that gets overlooked oftentimes when you're going through transition from, from the birth to three services to the 3 to 5 services is something like a visual schedule. So like a student that's going into a pre-K, whether it's an inclusive environment or a more supportive environment, they may need an individualized schedule of visual pictures, maybe laminated, maybe not, but
Mhm.
still, or maybe with real objects on them. That visual schedule, they may need to like just carry, and like in my pre-K room, carry it from place to place to understand that there's a structure to the day.
Right.
Because change might freak them out. And they may freak, I mean, like 3 years old,
Yeah.
it's hard enough already. That visual schedule is assistive technology if, right, it can increase improve or maintain the functional capabilities of that child because it's already a tool. We know it's a tool. It can be bought or made or, anywhere, but that is something that people don't even consider,
Right.
right? Like, oh, they have an individualized schedule. That's just a part of what they get, but it's AT, it's
Right. It's
assistive
part of what they get, which is
technology.
great, but they're getting it because it's helping them as an AT device does. Right. And so
It's
making
removing
those
barriers.
connections. Yeah, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
removing
And
barriers.
and being very explicit with people about this is actually what that is. That's AT.
Yes.
How you've put it in place for them and how you support it is the service that goes with it. These two pieces are critical in order for that child to keep moving forward and be successful.
Yeah, and I just want to be completely transparent. I used individualized visual schedules in my classroom as a pre-K teacher for certain students for a long time
Mm,
before I even realized it was assistive technology. And I knew the definition of assistive technology. But back then, I really was kind of like the idea was, well, assistive technology was only high tech. And there's still plenty of districts out there that that's what they're told is like, well, we don't really call it AT unless it's high tech. And that is not the federal definition. And
right.
that's why these AT myths and facts exist is to
Yeah.
tell you like you may be being told something, but this is what it really is. So let's start talking about what it really is. And it's okay to change. Like once I knew better, I could do better,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So
Of course. Yeah. So true. So true. Well, here we've already talked. We
yeah,
just
I
talked about this a
know
little
it's
bit. I was like, I think the next one's
good.
transition, but we're on a roll. Let's just do it. So AT isn't considered in a preschool transition. And as Mia was just pointing out, that no, that it must be considered. That preschool transition is no different than any other transition our students go through. The pre-K to K, the elementary to middle school, the middle to high,
Right.
the high school out into the next step, whatever that is. Those are all transitions. Are we planning for them? This goes back to my thought before of, is the team always equipped to understand how to document these pieces of information for a transition so the next group that works with this child understands their needs, abilities, strengths, and the supports that they have to put in place in order to be successful in that IFSP. So, do your early intervention teams understand or know about the set framework? Do they understand what that is and how it is we're coming to get to an option for technology,
Right.
whether it's low tech or high tech, doesn't matter. But are they
Right.
understanding what went into putting that in place for someone? Is that documented in a way somewhere so that the next team understands why the team chose the things they did?
Do they understand it? That's a
Yeah.
great question, Mike. It
It's
really
always the
is.
it's always the trick. I mean, I've been on teams where a new student comes in that's transitioned from the elementary school to the middle school or whatever, and the team is like, why is this here? Like, why are we using this? Because it's not written anywhere. It's just in the IEP. Student must use X. And okay,
Right.
but the first question that a team might have, which is a good question, is why? Why do they need to use that? What is that
Right.
doing for them? How did you get to the point of putting that in place for the student? And that's where, if you had some of this other information, if they were clear on the process piece, the service piece, they would have that information, and then the teams can be more effective as they go forward. They're not reinventing the wheel every time. Just to
Right.
just to come back to maybe the same tool or support. Like, oh well, we're going to do it. We're going to try it our way. Okay, and then they end up with the same tool where we put out all that energy. If it had been identified before and explained why, we wouldn't have had to do that.
Right. And that goes to writing a good IFSP,
Yeah,
individual family service plan, or a good IEP, right? So that's hard too. But if you have the paperwork with you that you did the set, and do you tell them where they can get information about the set in here, Mike? Do you
the
like
set is actually it behind the slides. So if you're in the
it
slides, when you download the
is?
slides, you can click to find the set form behind there, and
Oh,
you can
good. I'm
you
so
have all the
glad that
steps.
you did that. That is why you get the big bucks, because you remember to do stuff
That's
like
it,
that.
medium-sized bucks. I got small bucks
Medium
until I started linking it to
sized.
the website. We also, on our page, there was a point that a lot of the set information that was out there was fragmented. And so you had to go to a lot of different sources for it. We
Right,
actually went
right,
and spent some time. If you go back to our website at at4nj.org, we have an
right.
entire page on the set framework, and it links to all
I
of the
love that.
documents that live out on the web. Because
That's so
again,
smart.
they were kind of in different places. Some links started to die,
Yeah.
and we're like, you know what? Let's find a way to catalog all of this somewhere so we can get to it. So we have a whole page
I
on.
love that you guys make your website a one-stop shop because it is hard enough, right? It is
Yeah,
hard enough out there to figure all
it
this
is,
stuff
right?
out. So
I think
yeah,
that
so
word that I
click on
used
that.
before is very accurate. It's fragmented. There's a little here, a little
Yeah,
there. And if these things live on a bunch of different sites and then that site disappears for whatever reason,
right.
these things start to disappear too. So
Correct.
that stuff lives on our website.
I love that. Hey, you know what I've noticed about these slides? They are just so like they're so well done. Like graph, where did you get these slides, Mike?
Is this a self-serving question? Is that what's happening right now?
I mean,
These
totally self-serving.
I agree. And these are the images again that Mia talked about in the beginning. These images are fantastic.
They're
They're
free.
clear, they're visually very appealing. They're easy to move through. Um, I think these are the kind of graphics you could use around your school and post them up and just break down these myths about AT, all of the myths.
Yeah, even put them in your signature line. I have one in my signature line because we have
We
the
do
different
also.
sizes. But I can't take any credit for them. These, but they did a great, seriously, like they
Yeah.
did a great job, creating these graphics. I think they're very
Yeah.
clear and people seem to like them, and they're free. So please, go to the site's website and download them. And they have the alt text to go with them too. We already
They have
have
the
that
alt
all written,
text.
so you don't
They
have to
have
worry about it.
the squares for social media and the
Right.
full. These are the full ones. These are the full presentation
I
slides.
really do like that.
Yeah,
So this
they're
myth,
nice.
Mike, what's the
So this
next myth?
myth, I mean, you know, I'm about to fight this myth for sure.
Mm,
Early intervention isn't supported by a state AT program. No, that is no. We very much support anyone. That's the beauty of your state AT program, is that we work with anyone, any age, any disability, any environment, anybody. If you live in that state, we will work with you. Um, you know, all of your states, regardless of where you're watching us from. If you're in New Jersey, this is what we do, and that's how you get to us.
mm,
If you're anywhere else, search for your ATAC project. The
yeah,
three items that I have on the bullets here, every single project does. We have to do. So you can have an opportunity to, for any age person, especially we're talking about early intervention age, that birth to three, you don't know what technology you might need, reach out to the center, ask, describe the situation, explain the person's needs. That center can show you technology that may help them, where you
that's
can have,
wild.
I mean, it's an opportunity to get guidance. Ultimately, the person and their team is making the decision, right? This is not an evaluation, it's a demonstration. We show
Right.
you technology that might work. We compare it to other tools so you can contrast the features. But ultimately, at the end of a demo, the question is always asked, what do you think? Put it back to that person. Do you feel like you have enough information to make a decision now? Or do we need to look at more things? Maybe you need to borrow equipment. Maybe there's no equipment in your center to support one of these children you're working with in this age group. Reach out to your loan program and borrow that
Yep.
equipment. Different states do it different ways. I know in our state,
Okay.
you can borrow it for 3 weeks at a time. If no
Right.
one's waiting, you can borrow it for another 3 weeks. That's how we do it. I don't know how other
Right.
states do it, but there's always this component of being able to get your hands on technology in the environment you're in so that you can try it. And then
I think
finally, device
people,
reuse. I think device reuse is interesting for children in this age group that we're
oh
talking
yeah.
about.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
what about, this age group, when I think about this, these are children that are growing, their size is changing constantly. And if
Yeah.
this is somebody who needs mobility and positioning support, that could get really expensive, or you might not be able to
Oh,
get them set up. Look to your
right.
device reuse programs where they might recycle products that you can get your hands on so that someone can continue to go. Different kinds of seats. I know at our reuse center, they have a bunch of Rifton chairs and they have a bunch of different
Oh,
seats and bolsters so that as somebody goes and gets older, you could potentially get the next size up. And kind of the
oh,
beauty of that with our reuse center, we see this a
makes
lot.
sense.
People get things that they need, and then when they don't need them anymore, they just send them right back to the reuse center. So it comes back and then it can be
That's so
used for
cool,
something else.
right?
Yeah, I mean, why not? That's
That
the whole point, is to get it back in.
so I was going to ask you before you moved on, what
Yeah.
does ATAC stand for some people that are out there that don't know what ATAC stands for?
ATAC, Assistive Technology Advocacy Center, Disability Rights,
To
New Jersey.
Advocacy Center. That is important. So are all of is that just for New Jersey that you're named the ATAC, or is that what every state's centers
That's a
are
really good
named?
question because no, that is just what our state is called. Every state
Got
has its
it.
own name, however they decide to identify it. Your center might also be in a different organization. Ours happens to be at the State's Protection and Advocacy Agency.
Got
But
it.
that is kind of an anomaly, to tell you the truth. There's only one other in the whole country that is at a disability rights kind of advocacy agency, Washington, D.C., in case you're wondering. Now you have some
Yeah,
trivia you can
I
tell
was.
somebody.
I was
Um,
wondering.
there you go. Most of them are at state agencies or universities. That tends to
Got
be
it.
where a lot of the programs are. And if you were curious how to find your program,
I was curious, Mike.
no, now you don't have to be curious anymore. The AT3 Center is the national center that provides technical assistance to all of our programs. Um, and that link is in the picture there. That'll take you to their website. And then as you see on the top toolbar, find your AT Act program. Click
Oh,
there,
nice.
down all the states, it'll give you all the contact information for your state or territory. So even the US territories have centers as well. So I think there's 54, 56. I don't know that.
Oh,
Could be more
wow.
than 50. Yeah. So they're in the territories as well. All right, Mia. Final thoughts. What do you got?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts. I have a
But a
lot of
final
thoughts.
thought.
Yeah, that's a hard one. That's a hard one that's a hard one. I think the final thought for this is that if you are watching this, make sure that you share this with families
Yeah.
and parents who have students or children, 0 to 3 are going through that transition.
Mm.
Because the biggest thing that we can do is give people knowledge, which is power, to advocate and get what they need to remove barriers for their students, which will inevitably increase their independence. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to create beautiful, wonderful, independent people. And the way to do that often is through assistive technology because uh, it removes barriers so that we can do the best work and show what we know and get access to knowledge. So that's my final thought.
I love it. My final thought is very similar. I think that, yeah, I think you've hit it all. I think that was great. Um, this is an opportunity in this age range to set a family on a path for success,
Yeah.
instead of being one more thing that they need to learn about sometime in the future. Can we provide them foundational information at the start of their journey so that they continually experience success as they go forward? And I think that's a really powerful thing we can do with children in this age group and the families and teams supporting them. So yes, spread this around to everybody, um,
Yeah.
and let them know about these great resources and these ideas that support them for this age. If you're watching this before February 4th, great, come join us. February 4th, our final one, AT costs and funding sources. We will
Oh
talk about the
no.
myths and
Oh,
facts.
It's gonna be so sad to just have
Yes,
our final that word
we'll
like
have to create another series of something. Just keep going.
yes.
That's how we move through webinars. You wonder why we get 587 webinars? Because we're like, well, that was a bummer. It's done. Let's do another one of something. And we just keep doing them. Um, so all the information is on our website under look for webinars, and you'll find some information there. If you're watching this after February 4th, dig around on the YouTube channel where you just were. The recording is probably there. Unless I forgot to record, then give it a couple days and then it'll still be there because we'll have to do it again. Well, Mia,
Ah,
thank you for your time today.
thank you, Mike. This was great. And we always have a great time. I love talking AT, right? Like it is where it's at.
That's what they
Ah.
say. That's what the cool kids say. All right, everybody.
Well,
Thank
they
you.
know.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Mike.